Chapter 4, Privacy. Part 1, an overview of privacy. The learning outcomes include: define the right of privacy, describe the privacy balance and how courts use it to balance the needs of the individual or organization and the needs of the government, explain the basis for protecting personal privacy under the law, and compare and contrast information privacy, data privacy, and communications privacy. Let's start with a definition of privacy. While we may all have differing expectations regarding our personal and professional privacy, a basic definition is as follows. This definition is from Wikipedia. While I won't accept Wikipedia for a primary source in your research paper, it's not a bad starting point just to get some ideas. And sometimes Wikipedia very clearly and simply defines a word and I might use it, like I did here. The definition of privacy is the ability of an individual or group to keep their lives and personal affairs out of public view, or to control the flow of information about themselves. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines privacy more simply as freedom from unauthorized intrusion. In general, we don't want other people to know certain details that we believe should be private. The details that we expect to be private vary greatly from person to person. There are things I don't want people to know or share about me, just like you probably have personal details you would prefer not to share. If you don't want to share, don't put in an email or text message. Share it on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, or keep it on iCloud. You may recall several celebrities had their naked pictures stolen from iCloud. The moral of the story: don't post naked pictures of yourselves. If you do, encrypt them or add two-factor authentication, and never ever share with another person. Once you share, you have no expectation of privacy, even if you ask the other person to keep it private. That person may break up with you and get mad and post it on Twitter for the world to see. And what you post is there forever, even if the organization guarantees that they can erase your details upon request. Once it's been anywhere on the web, you have no expectation of privacy. Keep that in mind as you post pictures of yourself enjoying a cocktail at a party when you're underage, or a picture of you enjoying marijuana like Michael Phelps. Assume your email is not private, and neither is your phone or Dropbox or any other way that you willingly agree to share information. There are times we very willingly give up personal information. Kroger, for instance, knows exactly what I buy, when I buy it, and when I will run out. I let them know that information through my Kroger card because they send me coupons, dollars off of transactions, and they give me fuel points up to $1 off a gallon for 35 gallons. Do you line up 2 cars at the pump to get the whole 35-gallon credit? We do, and we've seen plenty of others do the same thing. I give up my privacy, and I feel like I get rewarded for it. That's different than someone hacking my iCloud account and stealing my photos, though. There's a line somewhere that we all consider a violation, but that line varies from person to person, generation to generation, organization to organization, etc. In general, the courts in the U.S. attempt to balance the purpose or need for information about you with the reasonable expectations of privacy that you may have. For instance, the USA Patriot Act reduces the amount of privacy we have in response to trying to prevent possible terrorist acts. Of course, many argue that the Patriot Act goes too far, and you'll have an opportunity to discuss that further on the discussion boards. Let's take a look at laws regulating privacy. We will start with the U.S. Constitution. Obviously, the Constitution gives us the right to privacy, doesn't it? If so, please show it to me. Or better yet, search for privacy and let me know what you find. It's not there. So when people discuss their right to privacy, they often infer that right from other parts of the Constitution. Some state constitutions provide additional privacy protections. States like California and New York, for instance, with a large number of celebrities who desire privacy, may have laws that are more favorable to the celebrity gaining more privacy protections. Most states, however, have very few statutes regulating privacy. Others infer privacy from common law statutes, such as the invasion of privacy as mentioned in the Restatement of Torts. In that case, you have advanced into a person's safe space and you have caused harm. The law specifically says that you intentionally intrude, physical or otherwise, upon the solitude or seclusion of another in his private affairs or concerns. If the intrusion would be highly offensive to a reasonable person. There are many aspects of the common law definition that are important. What's happening must be intrusive into the privacy area of a person, and the reasonable person must agree that it's an intrusion. We encounter the reasonable person throughout this semester. However, that person is likely not as reasonable as you. A jury of your peers is often the unlucky 12 people who couldn't get out of jury duty, don't have a job and are available to serve, or those who enjoy serving on juries. Whether they are reasonable is subject to interpretation, and privacy intrusions are difficult to prove. Other federal and state statutes are available, but they are typically limited. Finally, occasionally there are administrative agency rules and action, for instance, the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, that regulates certain transactions and preserves some form of privacy. In general, if it's stored online or if you do something in view of others, it's not private. The best guideline is simply to assume that you have no privacy. There are other ways that people infer privacy protection in the U.S. Often, the Bill of Rights is used as an argument for the right to privacy. In particular, the Fourth Amendment, which states that people have the right to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, is often used to argue for privacy rights. The Fourth Amendment specifically guards against searches by the police unless there is probable cause. Similarly, you cannot go into another's house and violate their privacy rights, but it's a matter for interpretation. Our reasonable person, who stays very busy, by the way, has to interpret if your rights were violated. The right to privacy is the right to be left alone. It's very comprehensive and covers your privacy in your home, when you're out and about, on vacation, at work, or anywhere you go. It's a highly valued right in the U.S. It's subjective, however, and has been interpreted by different courts in the U.S. to mean different things. While you have a right to privacy, you should guard that right and keep others away from whatever it is that you want to be private. When you combine communications privacy and data privacy, you have information privacy. Communications privacy refers to your ability to communicate with others by phone, text messages, Skype, without having those communications monitored by others. However, when you communicate with a second person, you often lose some of your privacy rights. Data privacy refers to your ability to limit others from accessing your personal data. You may decide to allow others to use your data, like the Kroger card, but it's a decision you make. Unfortunately, many of us click on "I agree" and allow others to use data in ways that we may not expect. Once you agree, it's covered under contract law and enforceable in most countries. We need to read what we're agreeing to do, but we never do. To summarize, it's difficult to define privacy and is never mentioned in the U.S. Constitution. However, people often infer a right to privacy through various amendments in the Bill of Rights. State and local laws, technical solutions to protect your individual privacy, and ethical policies that guide the use of data are required to protect the needs of business or the government versus the rights of consumers. It's often hard to balance those competing rights, and U.S. courts have not reached consensus on how to protect individual privacy. Laws do not cover every area of privacy, and it's incumbent on you to protect your own privacy. Don't assume others will protect your privacy for you. Their needs may not match your reasonable expectations of privacy.